Here, and we're to the cloud. Good morning, Misfits. It is Friday, May 29th. It is episode 463. Who'd have thunk? December 18th, 2018. A farm boy from Ohio would have been able to have the consistency to stand here in front of you 463 days. Now, the first part of the year, the first almost a little over half a year, we just did these during the week. And then somebody in June asked, hey, I can't go the weekend without you. And I'm like, all right, I'll start doing that. And the funny thing is they're not here anymore, but I still am. So are you. So I appreciate you all being here. My name's Sean Murphy. I'm the founder of this Misfit crew. We're a group of individuals who may not quite fit in out there because of our mindset, our desire, our hope to help other people have more, do more, be more, all by doing a little bit less. So as we get started each morning that I can remember, let's go ahead and send out our 3 messages of joy, of gratitude, of peace, of love, and just send those out because it gives you space to have more. It gives you space to be more. That being said, what do you send out? If you're new to this call, you send them out and say, hey, you know what? I appreciate you. You know what? I was thinking of you. You know what? You make my day a little bit brighter. It doesn't have to be epic in nature, although a simple hello and I was thinking of you can sometimes create an epic result. So send those out. If you're new to the call, drop an N in the chat. We'd love to welcome you and say, hey, howdy, how you doing? Howdy's a Texas word for hello. And today's conversation is, how's your worthiness? All too often, I mean, we can have conversations about folks and say, hey, how's your knee? I heard you had knee surgery, or I heard you had a little heart attack, right? And you're recovering from it. I heard you had a migraine yesterday and you couldn't come to work. Has anybody ever asked you, how's your worthiness? Kind of an oddball question a little bit, isn't it? How's your worthiness? What do you mean my worthiness? Well, it's something that most people don't even talk about. Because talking about your worthiness, do you deserve something, how good you are, and how much you deserve of it? It'd be like asking somebody when you said hello to them, hey, why are you today? So you know why everybody goes to Google and asks for how? Because nobody's quite sure of their why. And when people look at you, they look at you and they wonder why you're doing what you're doing. How many people have ever asked you, how do you do what you do? How are you doing what you're doing? How are you helping people? How are you doing lives that I can't even imagine sitting in front of a camera and doing a live? How are you talking to people about your business model? How are you teaching people to create incomes from home? See, not too many people ask you, why are you? They ask you, how are you? But they don't ask how with the intent to understand. They just want to know, am I possibly better than you are right now? What? That's not how I ask. That's not why I ask somebody how they are. I get it. It's why we're called misfits. But think about it for a second. People ask questions for 2 reasons. They ask questions for 2 reasons: a reason to do something or an excuse not to. The brain looks for 2 things. Will it kill me? Or how fast can I recognize the pattern? Could you imagine the looks you would get if you started to walk up to people and put your hand on their shoulder? Well, that was before COVID. You got to say this at least 6 feet away from them, right? Hey, why are you today? Well, what? I'm fine. No. I didn't ask how. I asked why. What if somebody came up to you and with a concerned look in their face and they said, hey, how's your worthiness today? How worthy are you feeling today? It might ruffle a few feathers. See, I don't know where I heard these numbers. It was probably my mentor made them up and told them to me. 1% of the population think, 2% think they think. The other 97% would rather pass away than think. Which kind of holds true if you look at the statistics when people leave a public speaking event, and part of the survey, the exit survey says, hey, how would you rate yourself in wanting to get on stage and speak? And they give them a few answers. And the first answer most people pick is, I would rather die in a fiery car crash. What? Yeah, people would want to die in a fiery car crash than get up and publicly speak. Why? Because let me let you in on a little secret. It's because many people, when they stand up and speak, think they have to be responsible for the audience instead of just to the audience. Think about that. When you stand up, do you really want people to engage in your conversation? Do you want them to take action on the information? Do you want them to take the information to heart and go do something with it? Most speakers do, but you can't get them to do it. These aren't your children who you're pontificating to and telling them, do as I do, not do as I say, not do as I do. So now the question is that if you can get up there and just give them great content, that's the challenge. Most people don't have great content. So that's my question to you today. How's your worthiness? If I were to ask you on a scale of 1 to 10, how worthy do you feel? If I were to ask you that, I'd also say, hey, listen, here's a good indicator. Tell me how happy you are. Right now, what would be your state of happiness? When you sit down across from a prospect, when you sit down across from somebody you want to engage with, the brain is looking for two things. Can this kill me? And if the answer is no, the next thing it immediately plugs in the chamber is, what pattern can I relate this to? Where in my life have I seen something just like this? Where in my life have I felt something just like this? Where in my life have I seen something similar, quite similar to this in the past? And when they ask a question to you in a prospecting mode, usually my experience, remember, listen, I'm a farm boy from Ohio, 0.9 grade point average, barely made it through high school. I've been involved in the professional profession of network marketing for 22 years. I'm knocking the rust off. I'll get better. And what I've found is that when somebody asks me a question, there's usually this binary mindset that happens. They're either looking for a reason to move forward or an excuse not to. So when somebody asks me a question, I'll go, that's a great question. Let me ask you, when you get the answer, follow me on this, when you get the answer, would that be a reason to get started or an excuse not to? I just need to know how much effort I need to put in the answer. What do you mean a reason to or an excuse not to? Yeah. If I give you the answer, is that motivation for you to move forward, or were you just looking for a reason to say no? Because if you're looking for a reason to say no, the answer is chicken soup. What are you talking about? Well, any answer for no works, doesn't it? Do you want the answer for yes? And you can do this without being confrontational, because I'd ask you again, somebody taking your time, somebody misusing your time or allowing you to misuse your time, somebody who has no intention of getting started with you, it's kind of like that. I don't know if you've ever been on unemployment, but where you have to go and fill out the get 5 job searches in. right? Or something each week, and then you got to turn that in so you qualify for unemployment. You've been searching for work. I bet they've relaxed that rule. But here's the reality. If somebody's sitting down across from you and you're going to help them have something they've never had before and help them do something they've never done before and do it, here's the key word, successfully. How many times have people attempted new activities in their life and they've fallen short of the success or the miracle they think they should have had? People get involved in our profession and they go, well, I'd like to make $2,000 a month. Well, have you ever made $2,000 a month working 2 hours a week? In 8 hours, have you ever learned how to make $2,000? Well, no. So what makes you think this is going to be a walk in the park? Well, I hear about all these people who make money. I know. Have you ever met anybody who makes money? There's a way to leverage time. Absolutely. The question is can you learn a new $2,000 a month result in an 8-hour period? The answer to that is absolutely yes. The question is will you determine if your worthiness works for that? See, if you've never had something you've never had before, how do you know what it is to have it? But we set these dreams, we set up these miracle stories in our mind that I'm going to show up and people are going to flock to you. Well, do you have a big list? Do you have a following? Well, no. But I'm going to, and then those are the ones that usually want to rewrite the rules and tell you how they're going to build the business to the highest echelons of your company's comp plan. Because enthusiasm is a wonderful thing. Enthusiasm that lacks results is a record on repeat. So how do we help somebody with their worthiness? How do we help them understand that they can have more, do more, be more, all by doing just a little bit less? How's your worthiness today? When good things happen to you, what do you think? How do you feel? And is there ever a bad thing that happens to you? What Jim Rohn say? It could be worse, couldn't it? And it could be better. Kyle Wilson tells the story about the time he was just starting to work with Jim, and he had him booked, and the event starts at 10 o'clock. But when Kyle got down to the room at 6:30, there was already a meeting going on, and he's like, wait a minute. He started to get nervous. He says, like, when is this meeting over? The meeting's supposed to be over at 8. We'll get the room turned by 10. Well, the meeting didn't end till 9:30, and it was a big meeting. And so there was no way they were going to be able to start Jim's event at 10 a.m. So Kyle had to go to Jim and say, hey, Jim, I am so sorry. Jim was eating breakfast. He goes, there's a meeting going on in there, and we're not going to be able to start till 10. He says, I don't know what to do. I'm freaking out, blah, 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 blah. And Jim Rohn looks at him in their early stages of working together, and he says, Kyle, it'll be all right. It's not like your best friend died. That was Jim Rohn behind the scenes. It's not like your best friend died. How many times have we lost our way because somebody pulled us off our path with a simple little statement, a simple little comment? Think about it. It's not like your best friend died. Things could be a lot worse than they are. Anyone who's ever been in a bad situation could be in a much worse situation. Sometimes when things are good, they could be a whole lot better, couldn't they? But good is good enough until, another one of Jim Rohn's favorite words. So, as you sit here today on this Friday, see what it is that helps you determine your worthiness. What is it that, how do you define whether you're worthy of something? How do you define what's worthy of you or what you are worthy of? So I'd ask you, how's your worthiness? We've got a hand up. If you guys want to have a conversation, go ahead and raise your hand. I've got Lisa I love the last name. Can't wait to hear how it's pronounced. Lisa's got her hand up.
Good morning, Sean.
Good morning, Lisa.
So my last name is pronounced Matiska.
Mutsitska. So that's Scandinavian. No, where is that from?
It's Polish. It's Polish.
Okay, excellent.
But I'm not Polish.
No.
Long story. That's for another morning call.
Mm-hmm. I hear
But
you.
I love the message of worthiness that you have for us this morning, because that's something on my journey of spiritual awakening that I'm currently on, that I realize that's what I struggle with almost my entire life. And I want to say that it really came from the fact that I felt like my mom just abandoned me. My father had sole custody of me since I was 5 months. My mom has always been on drugs. She's still currently on drugs. And she always, found ways to just manipulate, bring chaos, anger. She didn't show love. She had my dad kick me out of the house, and I was homeless for almost 2 years with my 2 kids.
Wow. And there's the enemy keeping somebody from telling a story.
Boss.
Go ahead, Lisa. You're back.
Okay. So it was just dealing with, rejection from early on, and not really realizing, because my mom didn't show me that love. I don't think a lot of people understand the psychological mind fuck, but that's what it is that you go through when your birth giver, your mom, just throws you away, So that's what I had to realize on my journey, that I am worthy. I am worthy. And my children are worthy of a great, healthy mom, who really sees life for what it is, a beautiful thing. And I'm just so grateful, like I said the other morning, to my mentors and the knowledge that's out there for us to tap into, because I was always in a world of darkness, and now it's just nothing but light, nothing but light. And I've never, like I said the other morning, I've never cried so many tears of gratitude. It's just amazing. I'm here in the park, okay? For anyone who knows Neno, I'm here in the park with my best friend, right? And I'm here to find Neno. I have a sage stick for him because of how much I'm trying to practice gratitude. And I have anointing oil in my pocket that we personally bless, because we are light workers. I've really found my true purpose in life. And he's not here this morning, but it's okay. I feel so great just being alive. And thank you.
Well, Lisa, a couple of things. One, I know you're journaling. I know you're keeping a record of this. I would, as a light worker, I would encourage you to pay attention to listen to changes at a cellular level. Mm-hmm. Because like a brush fire, it all starts somewhere. In the heart, there's 40,000, 50, 60,000 neurons that are not connected to anything else. They're still trying to figure out what's the purpose of these neurons that reside in the heart, right? Neurons are usually brain kinds of things, but the heart is in your body before the brain ever is. So I would ask you to start to pay attention to see if you can connect in, lock in, see what those neurons are activating inside of you, because the story that you share, you shouldn't be able to climb out of. So there's a part of you that has a connection to a previous avatar, a grandmother, a great grandfather, somebody. There's this ability for you to walk through hell and keep on walking, because this story is now becoming, your test is now the testimony for other young women who have children, whether it be one or none or two. Right. So there's a bigger story in here, and this awakening that I'm hearing is just the beginning. You know that as well, but I would encourage you, when 365 more days transpire from today, somebody's going to ask you, how did you do it? And I'd rather you say, go back and look, because the essence with which you tell it a year from now will be totally different than the essence you tell it right now.
True.
So I would encourage you to bottle that essence in a video, in a story, in an audio, because
Okay.
it's the essence, right? I remember way back when I used to have a lot of wine with dinners. I could tell you the difference. I could tell you the year of wine. I wasn't like a sommelier. I couldn't tell you what side of the mountain and what month it was from. But if somebody brought two different bottles of wine, the same bottle of wine, 2 different years, you could notice that. I probably have lost that ability because of not doing it, right? Repetition. You're in a moment of repetition right now of worthiness confirmation that says there's something unique about this moment. So again,
Yes.
I would encourage you to record it verbally and also video wise, because your
Thank
body
you.
begins to morph, your smile begins to change just a little bit. The micro expressions that come from your soul that reveal it to the rest of us are in this moment rather unique, especially on this journey you're currently on this morning of gratitude. So
Yes. Yes. It's so true. And I said to myself, I need to find someone that's going to put my life story on paper. And then I thought again, I said, that's you. Like, wake up.
That's awesome.
Again, that's what I honestly feel. I just feel so much gratitude because I know that I'm walking my path. My story will be heard in one form, shape, however. I was brought to this business for a reason. I really truly believe it's God's work. I believe it in my heart of hearts. It's the reason why I was brought to you. I will always be on these calls every single morning unless something unforeseen,
Right.
it's just, I'm never going to give up growing. I've never felt better in my life. I've never felt better in my life.
Awesome.
Get it, girl.
Well, Lisa, thank you for being a wildly strong example. Thank you for being courageous enough to step out of that. And I would encourage you again, if you can go back to the moment just before the darkness started to fade, whether that be a year ago, 2 years ago, 10 years ago, when you walked out or sent out of the house for 2 years with your kids, what was the energetic feeling you had? Because that's the energetic feeling most people live with every day, that you had to make a decision, die or do. And most people are never put to that place, and you've come out on the right side of it.
Yes.
So
Thank you.
I'd encourage you to find that, because that's the moment that most people can't connect with, but that you can allow people to connect with you when you tell that story.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
Lisa.
much.
Love you tons. Appreciate you.
I love you. I love you. I love everyone on the call. Have a blessed day, everybody.
Thank you. Awesome. Outstanding. Let's go to Michael in Florida. Good morning, Mike.
I'm actually back in PA.
Oh, cool. Look at this guy.
Yeah.
Moves around more than I do.
Yeah. So I got such like a cool kind of aha moment. Is Rhonda on the call right now?
Yes.
I know she's gonna love this.
Yes, I'm here.
All right. So this was interesting. So a little backstory on it. I was reading The Power of Awareness, and it was just pretty cool. Like, it wasn't like nothing crazy, but it was like this aha moment was really awesome. So like, you know how like, so like when I was like raised as a child, like I was like kind of raised Catholic and like went to CCD and all that, but I wasn't like too really into religion because like, you know, it kind of didn't really make sense when they taught me it. And it's kind of weird now to say that like I've never been so into this stuff like as I am right now. And I remember like when I was a child, like you remember when they taught you like Jesus Christ, like he died and then he like rose again, and you're like, what the heck? Mm-hmm. Like, what does that even mean?
Right.
So I was reading the book The Power of Awareness, and like it really emphasizes in the book that Christ is your imagination. And there was this one paragraph that I read that was really cool because it connected to these calls, like kind of the whole overall message of the calls that Sean says. So there's one paragraph where it kind of, if you don't mind, I'm just going to read it so that I can explain right after. It said, When man has the sense of Christ as his imagination, he sees why Christ must die and rise again from the dead to save man. And it's because he must detach his imagination from his present state and match it to a much higher concept of himself if he would rise above his present limitations and thereby save himself. So I thought this was pretty cool because I realized like the entire thing that Sean, you teach us is to like detach from our old story and kind of like build a new story. And I thought that was really dope that like it connected Christ in that whole sense. And I was like, dude, I never realized that. Like I always thought it was just like some actual guy. And then I was like, damn, like it's such a bigger message over that. It was just kind of cool to see my whole childhood's wonders and confusions kind of wrapped up into making sense. So I wanted to share that.
Well, outstanding. And go ahead, Rhonda. I see you came off camera. Good morning.
Good morning. I haven't read that book, and I sometimes when I'm listening to someone read a book to me, I sometimes have a hard time processing it. The way I learn is a little different, so I'll have to sit with that thought a little bit more. And I'm over here kind of playing Zoom police at times to see who's coming into the Zoom and who's not. So sometimes I get a little distracted. But what I liked about it is I like the peace that's around you, that you're creating these synapses in your head where you're having these thoughts all kind of come together and they're making sense. You're such an interesting guy, Michael. You have this childlike love inside your heart, and every now and then you just kind of crumple. But what I love about you is you always come back. Man, you never give up. You don't stop. You're very tenacious, and you're very willing, and you're just a sponge. And I love that about you. I'll have to look at that book, and I'll have to think about that a little bit more, because I'm sitting here watching, I'm hearing you, and I'm trying to be quiet for the kids, and then I'm trying to police the Zoom. So I'm sorry if I'm a little disassociated at the moment, but that's pretty cool. I know the moment that you're talking about, because I've had it too, to where kind of everything kind of comes together for you spiritually, and you're like, oh. And I'll tell you this. It'll do that, and then you'll go through that same thing again. It'll all get discombobulated again, and you'll have to go through it again in a different way. So keep this feeling as to what it felt like, and get prepared for more awakening.
Awesome. I love that advice.
And here's the thing. What do they say? The pen is mightier than the sword. So sometimes the things we're fighting in a simple passage can be revealed to us. In a simple note to ourselves called journaling, we can awaken the greatness that resides inside of us. So I applaud you, Michael, for continuing to be on the search. So, and it's good to have you back in PA.
Yeah.
Outstanding. Hey, let's go to Moshe. Hey, good morning, Moshe.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Oh man, my worthy tracker is like through the roof right now. I wanted to say thank you to Lisa for sharing that story. That literally you and her and everybody here are like the oil to my fire. It just keeps it burning even higher every single day. I had a question about the two reasons, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where people look for a reason to move forward or an excuse to not move forward.
Right.
What are some techniques or things that you've learned throughout the years to kind of identify that in the first 5 minutes of a conversation? Because I know you're talking about maximizing time,
right?
And you know, that's something that is really important to me.
So usually in the first 5 minutes, based upon it's one thing to give everybody the script, a script that I probably use consistently over and over. It's another thing to see how instantly the conversation morphs based upon a micro expression somebody gives.
Perfect.
This is why people can take can repeat word for word what I say, but don't get event for event the same results. So when I ask somebody the questions, I listen to how many microseconds it takes for them to respond. I listen for which way does their head tilt when I ask them, do I have your permission to help? Do they lean forward? Do they lean back? So all of these little subtleties, and it starts to, at a subconscious level, allow me to understand, are they here for a fight or are they fighting for themselves? If they're fighting for themselves, and I may just right after the 3 questions say, you know what? I just thought of one more question. As we have these conversations that you've given me permission to help you with and potentially, possibly, maybe make you feel a little uncomfortable. When I do these, will they show up as a reason to run or a reason to stay?
Okay. So essentially looking at body language, and then from their answers, you can capitalize.
Yeah, because remember,
that.
In public speaking or in any kind of speech, in any kind of communication, if you're doing this in a visual format, only 7% are the words. And if you listen to the words, you've got a 93% chance of failure, which is why most people get frustrated at the end of a conversation saying, they said everything right. I don't know why they didn't get started. The reason you failed is because you didn't pay attention to the other 93%. How fast do they move when they speak? Which way does their head turn when they do all? Well, how can I pay attention to anything they say? You got to pay attention to how it's being said. Listen,
it's so interesting.
If we turned off the audios to everybody here, you'd come up with a whole new interpretation of that person based upon how you see them showing up on the other side of the camera, wouldn't you? Do you ever turn off the news and try to figure out what it is they're talking about without reading lips? So as you start to do that, one of the things you may want to do is when you look at some of your team calls, when you look back at some of your team recordings, the Zooms, or you look at your mentors, turn off the volume and see if it doesn't come across that they look like they're yelling at you. Just look at the mannerisms. When you see them on stage, are they wild? There's a difference between they're intense when you're listening to them. And if you brought a friend in and you just showed them a video without any sound of the people that you follow, what might they say about that person without the words? Now they're paying attention to the other 93%. Well, they can't pay attention to timbre and sound and all of that stuff, but just look at their actions. So yeah, that's why. Go ahead, Moshe.
It's just, when I ask you a question, as you know, we always know the answers to them. It's just, I'm such a student of people. I love studying people to the point where I want to hear your insight, because I understand that we all have different GPS, like we all have a different roadmap, but we get to the same thing, right?
Yep.
Not in the same manner, but in the, for the same target. And, one of the things that I did was I looked up on YouTube, there's this lady, I forget her name, but she used to be in the CIA. And so she was teaching how can you tell when somebody's lying, right? Yep. And so what you're telling me is, to keep paying attention to those cues, to the body language of, how they're trying to communicate with you. And that'll save you just a great deal of pain and time.
And you've heard me do it on here when I've asked somebody, so how are you feeling? And there's this second of delay, and you'll hear me say, yeah, you didn't believe that either, did you? No. Yes. But the challenge is we won't call them out. See, that's a cry for help.
Mm-hmm.
If they were going to be the major spy that they wanted to be and be this undercover agent of pain and suffering, they would know exactly how to cheat the lie detector test. And the lie detector test is a conversation. And that's why in the first 5 seconds of meeting somebody, 100 plus 101 decisions, 105 decisions are made. And the rest of the time you spend with them are designed to confirm or deny that initial. And usually we always go, ugh, I knew that. I don't know why I even started. I knew that when I started talking to him. We've all said that before.
Yeah.
So
kind of like, sorry.
Go ahead.
Kind of similar to when Anne was sharing her story yesterday. Like, as soon as she was started at the end, she wanted to go back to the old story and take
We
shame
all do.
with her,
That's the safe
right?
place. That's the safe place.
Yes.
That's where the brain does. Listen, the brain is 3 to 4% of the body's weight, but it uses 20% of the body's energy. That's why when they talk about brain food, that's a real thing. Brain food.
Oh yeah.
Stuff that can cross the blood barrier and get into the brain. So all that being said, the brain is constantly wanting to stay where it's at because it's got so many other things it's got to worry about. Right now it's beating your heart and exchanging oxygen and determining how much you need and figuring out your digestion and figuring out your metabolism and clicking the pen and doing all of these things that it's supposed to do while you're still having a conversation. So it's like, come on, get done with the story so I can get back to what I know good.
Yeah.
And all it knows good is a pattern.
And what I realized too is through this conversation, because obviously we are all victims of that, where we try to fall back into that story. But the more that we prime our minds and the more we do this, the easier we can literally, it's like taking a little kid and grabbing him and putting him over here. Like just, that's literally what goes on in my mind.
If you go back to some of the, now almost a year ago, some of the times when Rhonda would speak, right? Or even me, go back and look at the first videos of this. I'm good, but now I seem, there's a difference in me. And if you just watch video 1 and video 463, you'd see there's a whole different level of neediness. What? Yeah. When I first started, I felt the need to train, to teach. And there was always a PowerPoint that started because that was the only way I felt I could deliver value. And I was worrying, and I knew that most people wouldn't come to converse, right? Until now, people who've been in this long enough, they go, hey, wait a minute, I got a question, because there's a level of comfortness. We've built rapport, and in addition to that, it's just, we've all gotten better. We all grow, right? So
yes,
I appreciate that question, Moshe.
Thank you.
Outstanding. Hey, good morning, Brittany. Let's go to Hotlanta.
Oh my God, I'm here.
Yes. Hey, there you are.
Yeah, I was like trying to get ready because I wanted to cut the camera on. I literally just woke up like 10 seconds ago. Okay. Okay, Sean, you know how my brain works. I'll be having like 30,000 things in it at one time.
Yep.
And I don't, getting it out is sometimes a challenge. So,
yep.
Okay. Let's see. Okay. Here's what's going on. I feel as if I have fallen off of the horse. And for some reason, I cannot. I'm back on the horse, but for some reason, the horse isn't moving. And I'm trying to figure out what inside of me is disconnected that isn't propelling me forward. There's still something that's keeping me like fake stuck. Or no, not fake stuck, really stuck.
So imagine this, when you started talking, this picture dropped in my head.
Oh my God.
You got back on the horse, right?
Yeah.
But what if you got on it backwards? Nothing would look like it's moving.
Yeah.
Wow, that was a big
What does that mean though?
So we need you to just turn around. Stop looking at the past, start looking at the future. Start looking into the frontier. You fell off the horse looking at the frontier. You got back on looking backwards at the plane, looking at everything that's old, the 30,000 thoughts. You haven't had 30,000 thoughts in the future. You've only had 30,000 thoughts in the past. So which way are you directed? And in this moment, so if you got to this moment, maybe the metaphor is that the horse is not moving because it's trying to get you to focus in the now. Because right now you're sitting in your bed, you're under a comfy cover, your cat's probably not far away, you got light, you got power, you've got running water. Why would you have 30,000 other thoughts that take you away from this joy that you're sitting in right now that most people would, 1 billion people, 2 billion people would wish they had?
And you know what I asked myself? I literally was walking and I had to stop and was like, am I ungrateful? Am I ungrateful? Because up until recently, I didn't understand what it meant to live in gratitude. I was such a little spoiled brat when it came to everything. I was so entitled, so just gimme. You need to do this, you need to do that. This is what you should be doing. I don't care if you my friend, if you my family, if you're in my business, this is what you're supposed to be doing. Like, I don't have to thank you for what, because this is what you're supposed to be doing. Right? And so
Rhonda, I'm getting a tear. Our little girl's growing up.
I know. I'm so happy. I love it.
I'm getting there. So it took for me, and my family used to tell me, you're ungrateful. And I'm just like, y'all just saying that because, like y'all my family. And it took for me to be out in the world a little bit more because I was living in this bubble. And once I kind of like popped that bubble for myself, I actually started to see the world and realize, like, talk to other people and not compare, but we would give our whole like growing up stories and stuff. And I would be like, damn, like, am I privileged? You know what I'm saying? I was like, okay, I have to relax. I really have to relax. So I guess my question would be, I have 2 questions. How do I enhance my grateful attitude? And I'm still struggling with being stuck as far as what to do next. And I'm still struggling with not hearing what the infinite and divine intelligence is telling me to do.
Do you ever play any sports?
Cheerleading, if that counts.
It does. It does. Do you remember the first time you picked up pom-poms? I don't know if you use pom-poms or that's something from the 30s, but do you remember?
Yeah, I was in like 4th grade. Okay.
And you thought, man, I can shake these things and I'm good. And then when you became, how long did you cheerlead? Did you cheerlead into high school?
Yeah.
So when you became a cheerleader in high school, did you have to try out for it?
No, not really.
Because you were that good?
I can see, and that, okay, sorry. I know I'll be doing this, but I was thinking about that too. I was sitting crying the other day and because something was hard. And I'm like, girl, you ain't really never had to work for nothing. Everything in my life has come to me so easy. I feel like I said that before on the call, everything has come to me so easy.
Some people would call that what? Some people would call that what?
Insane?
Privileged.
Oh, yeah.
So here's my point. When you said, how do I enhance my gratitude? How do I develop my gratitude? The same way you developed your cheerleading. Now, here's the thing. Follow me on this. Every one of us is privileged to have gratitude.
Right.
So because we may not we think it's a privilege to have gratitude, we sometimes don't allow ourselves to have gratitude. Because it's something that, well, there's so many people that are suffering. I really don't. If I do that, am I being egotistical? Am I being self-centered? Am I being selfish rather than being self-full? So the way you practice gratitude is send out your messages. I would encourage you to send out 20, 30 messages a day.
Yeah.
Because when you do that, the world's going to absolutely turn on its ear, because it's like, I just got a thank you message from Brittany.
Her?
Yeah, exactly. I wonder what she wants.
Right.
So remember, there's the 4 stages anytime we go through something. There's the fear, there's the sadness, then it turns into excitement, and it turns into the new normal. So that's been this journey you're on. The fear, and I don't know that the sadness has showed up in a couple of different ways for you, but I don't know if it showed up to the extent that this awakening that you're having will reveal itself to you. Kind of you know how long ago I could have been doing this? You know how long things could have been, you know how long and you're going to come up with, you know how, oh my God, if I'd only done this, blah, 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 fill in the blank. The key now is to, in gratitude, see how many times you can say thank you today. I'd track them. If you were to guess yesterday how many times you said thank you, what do you think the number is?
I probably said thank you to like 5 people.
Okay.
Yeah. 4. No, 7, sorry.
7. So 7 people.
Yeah.
I would encourage you to say it at least 100 times a day.
Right.
My goal is 200 times a day minimum.
Okay. Okay.
Now that your brain's going, I don't know that I know 200 people that I'd want to thank.
No, I mean, I have a whole team group chat that.
Oh, well, this is one-on-one. This isn't group.
Okay.
This is send out 50, just send out 20 thank yous. Send out messages of gratitude that you can have with people.
Sorry.
Thank them. Bless you. Thank them. I don't know. Thank somebody for anything.
Yeah.
Usually when you see my texts usually in whether it be on any platform, when somebody goes, man, the call was awesome today, my response usually is, thank you, love you, thank you for being a part of it. I don't even like to write the word thanks, because thanks sounds so informal. If somebody promotes this call, they do a screenshot and they go, learning from the GOAT, which I had to get over that, thinking I was an old goat. Now I know what it stands for.
Kind of both.
But the point is that I don't even, like I say, like to write the word thanks. Thank you takes a little longer, but thank you is what you deserve when somebody promotes you. So I'll write the word. Now, if we've known each other for a while, I'll say thanks. I love you. But those usually are the things that come out of my messages. Those are the 2 things that allow me to be in a state of gratitude, because gratitude is a wonderful circle of energy. Karma is only your energy coming back. Karma is not about bad things. Most people say when a poop storm hits somebody, they'll go, hey, that's karma. But when they call them, the good stuff happens, they go, well, they're just lucky. That's karma too.
Yeah.
And how fast it comes back is based upon the energy it went out with.
Yeah.
So when gratitude starts to show up, guess what happened? Guess what kind of, you just developed a big hole in your soul that needs to be filled back with like-minded stuff, like energy stuff of gratitude. So you got 7 gratitudes back yesterday. What if you got 107 today? Don't be surprised what happens. You'll be shocked. And it can change in an instant.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
I've been there. So I guess now the question would be, how do I stay there?
But see, we're asking the question again that we could Google.
Right.
You can Google and you'll get 1,875,000 pages in half of a second. But if you ask, why should you be there? Now what's the answer? And then let's do what Noah St. John says. Let's ask it in an affirmation. Why am I so good at being in gratitude?
Right.
And then let the brain work on that.
Right. I'm touching my chin. What does that mean?
No, you're touching your chin is a sign of thought. Touching your face during a conversation is a sign of knowledge, not necessarily awareness. And it's a way to slow down your jaw from moving, literally.
Oh, like a.
Yeah. So you don't say things you don't want to say and regret. Usually. You're different. But that's you're special. You're a special girl. What's the female brain say, Rhonda? Good morning, Brittany. I love you.
Good morning. I was fixing to say good morning, and I do love her. Stop, Sean. Well, first of all, I say congratulations for sticking in there, for going through kind of what I guess, for lack of better words, kind of some darkness and some, I don't know about all this. I don't know about what Sean teaches. I don't know about this crap. This is a bunch of crap, because I've had those kind of thoughts, and that's a precarious place to be, because you need what is being taught, but there comes a place in your mind where you're like, I don't need that. I don't need it. And you have been tenacious enough to go, okay, I'm just going to listen. And even on those days where you're like, I ain't turning on a light, I ain't turning on my camera, and I might even just sign in with a different name, but I'm going to listen. And you still show back up. So congratulations on that. That's really amazing. I wrote down, when you said what you said, I wrote down exactly what you said to ask myself the same question. Am I looking at the old story through the eyes of the new story, meaning understanding of the new story versus the old story versus the frontier, but still not facing the frontier? So you gained knowledge. This is the difference between knowledge is power. Knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. And you're moving into the application process. You got the knowledge and you're like, okay, got that and done. And then you wake up and you have kind of a Freudian slip, and you're like this fake, what did you call it? Fake something or another.
Oh, fake stuff.
Yeah. And you're like, well, it's not fake. But there's this faux truth that you got the knowledge that Sean was educating us with. You processed it. You're good. I'm good. I'm good. I got it. Okay, I'm good. And then you wake up one day and you're like, okay, yeah, I'm not good. I ain't good.
I don't get it. Okay.
But you got it. You haven't applied it. It's like what he said. The way he said, you got it, and you're on the horse, but you're riding it backwards. So you just haven't applied it and turned to the new frontier, the new story. You're still like, man, if I have to learn one more thing, and I have to be vulnerable one more time to tell somebody I don't got it, I am going to kick somebody square in their face. At some point in time, I have got to get it. And you're right there. You're right there. How many times have we said, Brittany, that you're sideways?
I
And you're
need
not,
to tell myself that.
well, that's why I'm saying it to you now. So you'll hear it, write it down, and go back and let your brain kind of mull it over a little bit. This is what I have to do. Our personalities are so similar. We know that. This is what I have to do. That's why I have to take notes when y'all talk. Also, I take notes when all of y'all speak, because it'll make me ask myself a question from your thought processes. So you're just in that place of, you just need to turn around and realize what has been done is done. Where you were is where you were. Where you are now is where you are. And if you want to move forward, there's got to be some application. And some of it is when you hear Sean say, go and tell 100 people thank you. Part of you inside goes, it's not that easy, man. All right, listen, that's stupid. I've said thank you like 9 million times and I'm still here. And I know there's part of you that say, because I said it. Really? Thank you? And it's that action. It's an action without a commission breath. It's just action. It's just moving forward, turning around on the horse and looking at the frontier and going, I have no clue what to do. Not a clue. But I'm just going to do.
I kind of feel as if I need my steps to be ordered. You know?
Yeah, that's the control issue
as a
inside of you.
You can understand that, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's also the control issue, because it also says in the Bible, man makes plans, and for lack of a better word, God kind of giggles. He's like, really? Really, you're going to make some plans? I got this. But there's still that part of you that's, you're like, okay, I understand you're going to make plans and you're holy and you're God and all. I really need to know what's next.
Right? That's me for sure.
And that's the part where you're going to have to turn around and look at the frontier. This is, and you haven't had this experience yet, but it's when you have a newborn and you sit there and you've helped your sisters with babies and you've helped your friends with babies and you've helped your sister-in-laws with babies and you've helped all these people with the babies, and you're sitting at home and there ain't nobody at home except you and your husband's asleep and the baby is crying and not acting right, and you're like, I don't know what to do.
Right.
I have no idea what to do. This is when my mom says sometimes you have to step back and punt. Sometimes you just have to turn around and look and just sit there for a minute going, I don't know what to do. And this is why Sean teaches gratitude, because when you don't know what the next step is, there's a way to calm the mind and get it off of your self-centeredness, because we all do it, and it's to express gratitude to somebody else.
So something just came to me when you said that, kind of a little epiphany. And it's like, I'm sitting feeling stuck, waiting. Sean, why are you looking like that?
Because I'm waiting to hear. I heard your epiphany. Go ahead.
And I'm sitting there waiting. Oh, I'm sitting here feeling stuck, like, dang, what do I do next? When I haven't even did the first step because I'm so busy trying to focus on 2, 3, 4, and 5. And it's just like, girl, if you do number 1, number 2 is going to come.
That's it.
And I'm thinking about it. I haven't even, like, when I'm talking to y'all, I haven't even journaled. I made one journal entry for the first time yesterday. And I was trying to scrounge through the YouTubes, like, oh my God, they told me that one day that I need to write this down about my head and my heart. I don't remember what it was. Why didn't I just write it down? When they said write it down, stop being disobedient. I'm disobedient. It's because I'm disobedient. There's nothing, I'm not going to, I just don't listen. I'm hard-headed. That's really what it is. And it's like, girl, get out of that story of being hard-headed. You got to listen to somebody, whether you find them to be an idiot or you find them to, you know what I'm saying, have that, like Sean was saying, everybody has value. So I just have to stop being disobedient.
Well, it's the question I'm going to ask you now is, are you preaching what you're practicing?
No. No, not at all. And I was even thinking about that in my business. I'm like, girl, here you are telling these people what to do. You're not doing that. And people only don't do what you do. And even if they don't know that you're doing it, you can walk and show up as if you're doing it because you're actually doing it. So you can speak from a different place in your throat versus barking orders at somebody. And y'all, let me look. See, this is why we having to talk it out. Because somebody was just talking to me yesterday. Sorry, I be taking up all the time. That's why I don't be getting on here.
No, this is good.
I'm like, I gotta come every couple of days. So somebody was telling me something like, well, actually, I'm in Chicago and I'm at my mom's house, and y'all know how I feel about my mom. So she was like, take the towels out the dryer, and I was like, you know, like you could just ask, you know. And I was like, I told her, I was like, I don't like for people to order me to do things. So when I speak to people, I consciously reword what it is that I'm saying to ask them what it is that I need from them, right? And she was like,
okay, let me stop you real quick. Hang on. So let me pick that apart for just a second. Because Sean heard exactly what I heard. No, hang on, don't let me lose my thought. You said when you're asking people to do something, you consciously choose your words to where it sounds the way you want it to sound.
So that it's more pleasant. So that it doesn't sound like.
But is it really?
More pleasant to who?
Yeah. And here's the other thing.
So I just be lying. That's what it is.
Why can't, instead of trying to figure out the words to say it to where it sits on their ears so well, why can't it come from a place in your heart to where it doesn't matter the words you say, because the feeling behind it is so sincere and authentic, it doesn't matter the words you use, it'll come across. Sean has spoke to you, Brittany, at times, and I watch the chat blow up, and everybody in there is like, man, if he was near her, she would have already made him bleed. But you don't, because why?
See, this is interesting. This is interesting that you said this, because I was just having a conversation with my friend, because I have a strong personality. I'm not, a lot of times when I'm listening to people talk on here and I want to say something, I don't say it because, and I've given the disclaimer before, like, I'm not soft and soft-spoken like Rhonda, you know what I'm saying? And like, and I feel as if, but I'm very genuine, you know? So even if when I talk to people the way that I talk to them, when I'm always being myself.
Hang on just a second. If you were genuine, you wouldn't be on this call.
So I'm fake?
Well, you're not yourself.
You're learning. You're learning to get there. You're striving to that. You want to get there.
When you sit here in your pain,
that's why
when you sit there in that pain isn't genuine, is it? Yes or no?
I'm not following.
Is pain genuine for you? Is that a place where you want to be?
It's not where I want to be, but by genuine, this is
you're
what
genuine. But see how your brain tricks you, and you say, "Well, but listen, I may not be soft-spoken, but I'm genuine." You're genuinely in pain, and that's not where you want to be.
I don't get it.
Of course you
Brittany,
don't.
do you speak from your brain or from your heart?
Well, let's not get there yet. She's not ready for that.
Okay.
I get you, Michelle. I get you.
I speak from my heart, and then
could you?
Well, I speak how I feel.
No, you speak how you think, because if you spoke how you feel, you'd say more than thank you 7 times in a day.
What if I don't feel thank you?
Then you're speaking from your head. Your heart can't be in pain. No heart has ever been hurt on its way to its journey. Mm-hmm.
have to put myself in okay, I'm gonna just take notes.
It's called being vulnerable.
So here's the thing. Imagine if the person that you adored most didn't speak English, but you could create a connection. And imagine if their language came across to tell you to do things. And because you understood the essence of what they were asking you, it didn't matter the sound with which it hit your ears.
Well, this is interesting because I was just talking to one of my business friends, who's now one of my personal friends, and she was telling me, she was like, well, Brittany, maybe you need to change how you say things. And I'm like, I don't think that's it, because there are people that are harsh and people receive them, you know? So I guess my insecurity comes from, well, I don't guess, but my insecurity comes from being myself and people misinterpreting it and taking it the wrong way and charging it to my heart and not my head.
The challenge, though, that I hear in that statement is that the way you're speaking isn't your true self. That's the self you've developed to protect yourself. That's why there's a disconnect between what you say and the essence with which somebody hears it, because the two are not in sync. There are times when you are absolutely this big, lack of words, bowl of jello of softness. And when you're that person, people are absolutely, there's nothing you need to say. Because who you are speaks so loud, they don't need to hear your words. But there's this reason that you've set up this defensive mechanism because of the environment, right? Your personality made up your personal reality. And so therefore, that's what's changing. The reality that you sit with, imagine if yesterday.
Oh, my phone's about to die.
Imagine if yesterday was the last day your mom was ever going to ask you to get the towels out of the dryer. Might you have listened to that message a little differently if you knew it was the last time?
No.
Let me ask the question again. If it was the last time ever you ever heard, those were the last words you heard of your mother, would you not hear those differently now if you knew those were the last time you ever heard words from her?
No.
Okay. So when you're ready to awaken, when you're ready to change the way you look at things, let me know. Because this is not a place, I'm not going to have an argument with you for you asking for change and then you decide to not change.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a use of my time that I'm willing to give up.
Understood.
Okay. Love you tons. Let's go on to Ada. Hey, Ada, how are you?
Oh, hi. Good morning.
Good morning, Ada.
How are you?
Outstanding. How are you, Ada?
Good. Okay, so I kind of have a lot of, I think I'm struggling a little bit. And, so I guess I'll.
Just in the chat, if anybody else is struggling, type an S in the chat just so you know you're in good company. Go ahead.
Okay, so I guess I'll start off with, all right, when Brittany said that, like, she felt like she, like, fell off the horse or something and she couldn't get back on, I was like,
well, no, she said she got back on, but it felt it wasn't going anywhere.
Oh, well, I don't feel like I got back on.
Okay.
And, okay, so I guess I'll tell you, like, a little story about my week, I guess. This entire week, I felt like, I was just telling my friend this, that it's been, like, not a bad week, but a very, like, character building week.
Okay.
I had to I feel like I've been struggling with my subconscious mind, or like in a battle, I
Mm-hmm.
guess. And this entire week was kind of like every day was, there's always something that's like, you know, forces you to, or not forces you, but you have to be more aware and like conscious and like, okay, it's kind of a negative situation, and then you have to turn it into something positive or look at it in a positive way. But I
Right.
feel like everything this week, like literally every day this week, I feel like I just been like struggling to try and find the positive side because there's been so much negative.
Okay.
So I worked I only worked like 2 days. So earlier this week when I worked, I was noticing, like I was on the register and I kept seeing this number pop up on the register, and it was scaring me. It was literally it was like I went to one register, cashed someone out, they got ice cream, and the change came to 666. And then to another register, cashed them out, they got something completely different, and it was the same number. And I started getting scared. And then I kind of told my friend about it. And then what day is it today? Friday. I worked yesterday, and I kept seeing not 666, but the number 6. And when I looked up 666, it was, well, we looked up together, and it said like something about being more aligned with yourself, and like you're not aligned with yourself or something. I'm okay. I could feel that, I guess. And then I kept like going deeper and trying to look in what like the number 6 means, and it was just confusing me. So yeah, I guess that's where I'm at. And I just feel really like not scared, but like I don't know what to do. And I know like
So here's a question for you. Do you believe that your thoughts can influence your day?
yes.
Awesome. How's your day so far?
Today is good. It just started, but I'm good. Because I kind of came knowing that I was gonna find my answer from you, I guess.
Okay. So, but you can't find your answer from me if it's not already where?
Yeah.
Yeah. So is it okay if the answer's inside of you?
Yes.
Okay. And what would you like the answer to be?
I don't know, something that makes me feel a little less how I've been feeling.
Okay. So, and what would you have to do to feel a little less how you're feeling?
Change the way I'm thinking.
Okay. And what would you change the way you're thinking to?
I guess more positive.
Okay. What would be something positive that you know you could start thinking about in this moment?
I don't know.
Okay. Maybe that's why you came to me to ask you some questions. So if I were to ask you a question, what's something positive in your life right now?
What's something positive in my life right now?
Mm-hmm.
My mom.
What's that?
My mom.
Cool. So what about mom makes you feel good?
She's supportive.
Okay. So did just in that statement, did your mind change?
Yeah.
Because you activated your what? That thing that beats in the center of your chest.
Right.
Yep. So is it okay if you activate your heart a little bit more often?
Yes.
Cool. What's another thing you enjoy about your mom?
She's hardworking. She does everything.
Okay. So is that a good thing?
Sometimes.
Okay.
I think it's good that she's able to, but it's not good that she has to.
But is it her has to or your have to?
Her has to.
Yeah. So why are you trying to control her has to?
Because I don't like it.
Right. So then can you do something about it?
Yeah. Okay. Can I say something?
Yeah.
Okay. So basically the way I see it is because like, I know we kind of like had this talk before, like a while ago, but when it comes to her, it's like, okay, she works really hard and she does a lot.
Yep.
And I feel like the business that I'm in and the opportunities that I'm supposed to be taking advantage of,
Right.
I'm not taking as much advantage as I should be.
Right.
So I guess it makes me feel a little guilty when it comes to her.
Yep.
But why can't I like just like do what I have to do?
Because
know.
there's a part of you that says everything will be done for you. When's it
Yeah.
time for you? When's it time for you to take care of you and work on your has to?
You're asking?
What's that?
You're asking when
Yeah.
it's time?
Yeah. When is it time for you to work on your has to?
Now, I guess.
Okay. And if you work on your has to, what do you have to do now to help your mom?
I feel like I'm supposed to be taking advantage of the opportunity.
So how do you take advantage of the business today?
By doing everything that I'm supposed to do.
Okay, but what's one thing? I don't know about everything. I know about one thing. What's one thing you could do?
Okay, so because of Nano, like I set up my days in like 3.
Don't worry about Nano. Don't worry about me. What can you do? Don't put your authority in Nano or me or anybody else. Put your authority in you. What can you do?
Make sure I touch on each aspect of my day.
Okay.
Personal development.
So what's the first aspect of your day that you can do?
Personal development. So like meditation, reading.
I would encourage you to change that to personal undevelopment, because the development you've used has you sitting here stuck in front of us right now. I love you. You know I love you.
Yeah.
But you're going to have to undo what's keeping you stuck. You can't pile anything else on it. You don't need to read another book. You don't need to go to another seminar. You don't need to buy another tape or another series of nothing, because it's got you stuck. Everything you've done to this point has you, I love you, you know, right? The 3 questions: permission to help, make you feel uncomfortable. This is question number 2, make you feel a little uncomfortable. Everything you've purchased or done or spent is sitting here right now, and it's got you stuck. The challenge is, can you unstuck yourself?
I have a question.
Sure.
So is it possible that you're saying like everything that I'm doing is making me stuck, but is it possible that maybe like I haven't been doing enough of those things, or like I haven't done them the right way?
So how many seeds can you plant at one time?
1.
Yeah. And then the question is do you keep planting the seeds, or at what point do you go back and make sure the harvest is going to come in? If you're going to plant a field the size of Texas, you're going to need a lot of equipment. Yeah. If you're going to take care of Ada, at what point do you go back and make sure the seeds are watered? Have you gone back and watered any of the seeds? What you might be right in what you're saying, maybe I haven't done enough. What would you need to do more of that you've already learned?
I think just like being more consistent.
Right? And more consistent doing what to take advantage of your business?
More consistent with my personal development.
Okay.
And like my routine.
Right. But even if you only get paid to do 2 things in your business, what are the 2 things you get paid for in your business? Customers, finding customers, and building leaders. Do they pay you for personal development or undevelopment?
No.
No. So there's only 2 things you could do today. Go find a customer or build a leader. Do you have anybody on your team you could help build?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd either work on that, and if I were to ask you, if I was your business partner, I'd ask you, how many people on your team do you have that you could go work with? What's that number? How many people are in your community?
Well, right now I only have 2, and I feel like I could work with them.
Okay, but I would encourage you, don't get into management mode until you have at least 30 or 40 people on your team, because the law of averages, the 20 rule. So I would encourage you to spend 90% of your time building your business and let them follow you, because the speed of the group is the speed of the leader.
Okay.
So because if you go get 2 and then they all get 2 and everybody starts working with their 2, nobody's sponsoring anybody. So I would encourage you, ask those 2, how could I be of service to you today? And then I'd go find 2 more. And then I'd ask those 4, how could I help you today? And then I'd go find 2 more.
Okay.
Does that help? Now, all of a sudden, the burden that was that was outside of you now rests squarely on your shoulders to help your mom. Because you've already got 2. You know what it takes to find 2, right?
Yeah.
So let's just go find 1 more. And guess what? You've upped your group community by 50%. It's just I would encourage you to find more people to work with.
Okay.
Ugh, I thought it was going to be easier than this.
I don't even know what I'm thinking.
Sean, can I say something right quick?
Sure.
So Ada, this is always probably more for me than it is for you, but this is what hit me when you were talking about this. And when Sean goes, maybe you're doing too much, and you're like, but I don't know enough. And you're like, well, maybe I need to be doing this. And it's, you get to a point where you start this journey where you start grasping at every piece of information you possibly can, because you feel as if when you finally get that one piece of information, it'll all make sense to you. And then you'll be able to go, oh, okay, that's what it is. I just haven't read the book that Nano has read, or I haven't read the book that Sean has read, or I haven't read the book that this person has read. I just need that book. So this is what hit me. When you're sitting down to eat dinner and you take a spoonful of whatever it is you eat, and it's either, if it's meat and potatoes or whatever, if it's a hearty meal, if you chew like 2 or 3 times and swallow, you'll swallow, it'll go down. And then if you hurry and take another bite and you chew 2 or 3 times and you swallow, it'll go down. And then, and you just another bite and 2 or 3 chews, and you're eating steak and you've only chewed it like 1 or 2 times per bite. Eventually, what's about to happen?
I'm not going to be able to swallow it.
You're not going to be able to swallow anything. And then you're going to be sitting there going, but I'm still so hungry and I'm still so stuck. What is all this? What is this? What is this? I don't know what to do. What do I do? Do I need to drink some water? And then you try to drink some water and it just kind of seeps a little. And then you're like, okay, I got to spit that out. I can't get it. At some point in time, another way that Sean is trying to say this, another way would be saying, take what you've gotten, take a small bite of what you've gotten and chew on it for a while. Just chew on it. Just sit there and chew on it and realize less is more. One book, one thought, fully chewed on and digested can completely change everything in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that you've got all these seeds and you've put all these seeds out, but you haven't covered any of them up. So the birds can come and take them as soon as they see them. They haven't been covered up, so there's no soil to be able to cover them, to protect them, that they can grow through and get the nutrients they need. And then you wonder why you don't have the results. So instead of doing, how about you sit with a thought that makes you go, man, that was a good thought. Sean throws out nuggets. Nano throws out nuggets. Find one of those nuggets and sit there and go, what does that mean? And how does that change the trajectory of my life? Does it change the trajectory of my life? This is why, and God love him, Sean has made it to where it's almost impossible for me to read a book. Because I read the first 2 pages and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't, I've got to put it down. I got to stop and think about those pages. Because we skim over it because you're in this, I got to do more. 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 And it's best said the way he has said it before. I have to do less and become more. So hats off to you, sweet girl, for being this young entrepreneur, and you're up on a flipping call at this early of the morning trying to become better. Hats off to you on that. That's super impressive. Yeah. So now find that one nugget and go, okay, let me find something that when I hear it, I'm like, wait, hang on a second. And if you have to, mute your ears. Write that down. And if that's all you need to think about for the day, for the week, that's fine. There's often times when I'm doing my Bible study, there's one scripture. I have set on one scripture for a month. Just understanding what I can get from that. So I would say slow down on and chew. Chew your food, sweet girl. Chew it up. You're being fed well. You're feeding yourself with the right things, but you can't eat all the meals at once. And if you do, then you're going to get backed up in your whole digestive process. You're going to get backed up in your stomach. Nothing's going to feel right. And then you're just going to get bloated and bleh, you know?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah. Can I say something though?
Sure.
Yes.
Okay, so you said to choose one. Okay, so one thing that I feel like kind of stuck out, because both of you said this, was I need to do less, or less is more, because I feel like I'm not doing enough already, so I do a lot more. But I do a little bit of everything and not all of each.
Yes.
So that's okay.
How old are you?
21.
Okay. So you are this amazing, I don't think I was ever anywhere near this at 21. And the questions you're asking are, you're asking the right questions. You're moving through the right way. You are doing enough. And here's where we get caught, especially as women. We feel like we're not doing enough to get where we need to go, when in reality, as we just stand in our essence and marinate in a little bit of truth here and let that seep in, that's all you need to do. But we get stuck in the, I gotta do, and then you never become efficient in anything.
Mm-hmm. Especially when
and it's okay. Yeah, it's okay for it to take some time. Sean did not become Sean until right now.
Mm-hmm.
And he's playing with his little squeezy thing and he drops it when he's talking. So see, he's not even perfect. So it's okay to not be this amazing guru at 21. It's okay. Be Ada, be present, enjoy where you are, and be thankful you got breath in your lungs and you got this amazing relationship with your mom. There's women on this call right now that would give anything to have had an amazing relationship with their mom. Find those moments and cultivate those thoughts and slow down in the high pass. Gotta know. I have never had more success, Ada. And I'm old enough to be your mama. I've never had more success until I slowed down and sat in joy and gratitude and realized I don't have to know it all.
Okay. Thank you, Rhonda.
Thanks for letting me speak into you. You're an amazing, amazing girl. You have a great energy about you, a kindness about you. So thanks for having this moment with me today.
Thank you.
And Ada, just so that I also speak to your subconscious,
Mm-hmm.
when you would do those swallows and you would get nervous and you would kind of back away a little bit from the camera, that's the part of you that asked the question. The busy one of you wouldn't have asked the question, because the busy one would have said, I just need to keep doing. But the part of you that wants the success to truly be of service, and with a large part of that to be of service to your mom, is the one that asked the question. So the answers we shared with you are different than the busy person, the busy idea, the busy Ada that was asking, because you were going to ask me, well, what more should I do?
Yeah,
and yeah, I know.
Because you said to like find two people. I'm like, that's it?
Yeah, that's it. Because if you found two people, your business would double.
Right.
And wouldn't that be neat to say? See, the hard part is to say my business doubled. Because you got to think, well, I got to be stronger than to double my business. I got to be bigger to double my business. I got to be a nano to double my business.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, Nano came to me back in June of last year, a year ago, and we had a conversation, and he'd been struggling for 12 months, 16 months. And after working with him for a little bit, in a matter of 90 days, he jumped almost 3 ranks. One rank he was at it for less than a week. He didn't take a pill. What he did take was the idea of doing less and focusing on the things companies pay us for. He didn't have a call that has 1,000 people on it back in June of last year. I suggested to him, start doing your call. Yeah, but how do I do that? I don't know. Get started. And he's figured it out. He's brought on people. He's found teams of people to bring on, people that he could share ideas with. Why was he able to do all of that? I need you to hear this. Why was he able to do all of that? Yes, he had a conversation with me. Yes, I've worked with him on a variety of things. But the only reason he was able to do all of that is not because of me. It's because of him. He already had it inside of him. So here's the question. Well, actually, here's an answer for you. You already have this inside of you. Otherwise, you wouldn't have asked that question. You want to know the good news? These are the same questions that all great leaders ask. I need you to hear that. These are the questions in my 22 years of this profession, my 40 years of sales. What you just asked me this morning is the same questions that I get asked by all people who have this greatness inside of them, who in a very short order reveal it to the world. So you're in good company. That pit, that knot in your stomach of like, that's a good knot. And when you learn to breathe and untie it, it'll be a good thing. Does that help?
Yeah.
No, I wanted to learn. I just wanted to go do more. Thank you for having the courage to ask the question.
Thank you.
Now, will you take action on what you know you need to take action on?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I'd love to hear some of your results tomorrow on the call. You mean like in a day to go, well, what if I don't sponsor 2 people? Are you doing income producing activities? Are you doing the activities that allow you to communicate? We're not here for them to say yes. We're here to do the activity. Don't get tied to the yes, get tied to the activity. And when you get tied to the activity, you'll wind up creating the activity that's easier for people to say yes. But don't get tied to the yes. My daddy said the only reason you sit down with somebody is so they can tell you how they want to get started. And when you get good at that, they will tell you how they want to get started.
All right.
Cool. Yay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sean. Thank you, Rhonda.
Love you, Ada. Thank you for being here.
Love you too.
All right, let's go to Ann Poe. Good morning, Ann.
Good morning, Sean. How are you?
Outstanding. I love the braid in your hair. Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning, Rhonda. Good morning, everyone. So firstly, I wanted to say to Ada, was it Ada who
Yes.
yeah. One of the things when she was speaking that came to me was like, are we not doing enough compared to what or who?
Right.
Because I always say I'm not doing enough, but that's in comparison to my leaders, in comparison to who I work with, in comparison to the men in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
And then I kind of go into the spiral of being like, oh, as a woman, I've got to do this for the house. I've got to do that. And, you know, all these men, but we don't know what they're going through. And they could have equally the same amount of responsibilities. So then I had to be like, I actually enjoy serving my house. I enjoy serving or doing things for my house and my family and for me. And that's when I stopped, like, not comparing, because I still do compare myself to people, but like, I'm more like, okay, I can do this for today, and then tomorrow I'll do more of that, rather than like sit there and read the whole book and then not really know where to go from there. So that was just a little thing that popped into my head. And another thing I wanted to say was basically I wanted to share like a kind of like an awakening that I had this morning. And it was the fact of, you know how you always say, I mean, you say a lot of good things, but like, you know how you always you know how you always say that like what is it, the statue of David, something about chipping away the old.
Oh yeah, Michelangelo, they asked him, how did you make David? He said, I chippy away everything not David.
Right. So I've heard that like 1,000 times on these like Zooms, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I've always just written it down like multiple times, but not really like got it. And then today, because yesterday you told me to like ask myself what I find, like what do I find joy in, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And the answer that came to my head was like creating things. So like writing, reading, you know, dancing, singing, drawing, whatever, just creating. So then I was like thinking about that. And then I realized that, I don't know what it was. It popped into my head. And I kept thinking like, oh, I've got to do like, again, going back to Ada's problem, like I got to do all these things, but I'm concentrating on me. Like I'm concentrating on meditating. And then I realized that the business should be the result of me, not the cause of me. And that
Say it again.
The business is the result of me and not the cause of me. And then I realized that I should come first and everything else should be plopped into my schedule.
Blasphemy.
Rather than doing it the other way around. Because I'm like business, school, you know, family. And then at the end, I'd be like, right, I'll meditate for like half an hour, which is not how I should do it. So then I realized, going back, I used to I used to write these essays for university. And one of the things my lecturers would always say is like, your essays are great and you're giving me a lot of like theory, but where is your voice? Because your voice in seminars, I can hear them clearly, but in your essay, it's so jumbled. And I realized that like, you know, I didn't study the degree became me. Like I was pursuing the degree rather than the degree becoming a part of me, a part of better me, a part of the more intellectual me, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was my awakening. And I'm in a very good mood. And I wanted to share that with everyone in case that kind of ticked anything for anyone in terms of like, yeah, basically.
Can you share with me why you braided your hair today?
I don't know.
I'm just curious. In the past, you've braided your hair. I've never seen it, but in the past, you've braided your hair for kind of a reason. I'm just curious what the reason was today. Because I've never seen it braided, at least not that I recall.
I always braided it as a child because I love to see it braided. And then today I guess I'm in joy. So I just.
Do you remember the last time you braided it?
Yeah.
How long ago was it?
It was like really young.
Yeah. So all of a sudden, your new awakening, you changed your external experience, but maybe you just organized yourself in such a way that you're now working on yourself. And there's how many strands to a braid?
3.
It says in a good book somewhere, when there's 3, it's unbreakable.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. I mean, I'm just loving life right now, like on a high.
And most people are like, wait a minute. Braiding her hair had nothing to do with it. Well, how many of you noticed her braid the second she came on camera?
Ooh.
And she was actually holding on to it. And the last time we talked about holding on to it, what did we hear about her holding on to her hair? It was about mom. It was about childhood. And now all of a sudden, when's the last time you braided your hair? Childhood. Oh, wow, really? Isn't that funny? We've just come full circle. And you guys think I'm nuts.
That's really funny because
It is. I'm laughing.
the last time that we talked also when I was touching my hair a lot was to do with my ex as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then that's how the conversation turned to religion.
Mm-hmm.
And today my ex texted me being like, how are you? How's things going? And normally I would be in a lot of anxiety, but today I journaled. And I just realized that, you know, maybe me awakening, he might need someone to
now you're getting back into the service mode. Take care of you. Stay. You're running down a spiral set of staircase that doesn't have an end.
Okay.
Yeah, that's that. You see that? Did you hear me yesterday? You see the guy that you dated for a while walk by, and you're like, "Oh, he's so sexy. Why did I let him go?" Okay, this is me going, "Stop it.
Okay.
Let him go."
Let him go. No, it wasn't like I was gonna hang on to him.
Listen, we're all full on crazy here. Sell that someplace else.
Okay, good.
You were trying to find a reason to stay in touch with him. Oh, I can help him.
Yes. He ain't going to help himself.
Just so you two can still see each other, be in contact with other. Does that make sense?
Ooh. So should I not respond? I mean,
No. I'd lose his number.
Okay.
He's not looking for help. Understand that.
He's looking to have control. Maybe, quite possibly. Maybe he turned over a leaf. Maybe he braided his hair this morning.
Don't renege that, Sean. You said it exactly right. Say it right the first time and be done. Say it again.
Lose his number.
And what's he looking for?
He's looking for control, not for help.
Okay, so there's two things there. Well, the biggest thing is this. When a man speaks of another man, and it's not the kind of man that just makes harsh judgments like that, pay attention to that. Because just like you and I can look at a woman and we can see the thoughts go through her head and we can go, uh-oh. Mm-hmm. Men can do the same thing with men without even having to see them. So when you're around someone who has your best interest in heart, and their heart is a good heart, and they love you and they want only good things for you, i.e. Sean, and he says that, pay attention to that. That's a big red flag because he's going, and so he said it right. Control is the issue there.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm so glad I shared that because I was actually going to text him back tonight being like, I'm good, how are you? So I'm sorry about that.
Let him see that on social media.
You have a door in your house.
Yeah.
Either go slam your hand or your head in it. Either way, at least that pain will go away.
And like Sean said too, keep the focus on you.
Well, that's it. You're laughing because you're like, how could you say that to me, Sean? Because that's exactly what we see you about to do.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Okay, good. Glad we got that covered.
Thank you, guys. Honestly, that's cleared my.
Good.
Yeah.
But it should be more clear to this.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there you go, Misfits. RBP, give us a wrap. And all of you that have your hands up, I love you. Come back tomorrow. We do it 2 hours later, 8:30 Central Standard Time. But Rhonda, what would you say is
I think that was a great place to wrap. So who are you surrounding yourself with, and who are you listening to? Because there's moments, just like what Ann had, that there's going to be this Mack truck driving down the road, and you're going to step out in the highway, and you either need a friend that's going to grab you and pull you back, or like Sean said a few days ago, stand out in the highway and go, oh no, I'm helping them. See, look, we're looking at how pretty the sky is and how pretty the road is, and the truck's coming. Sean just yanked Ann out of the highway, and he did it out of love.
And part of Ann is, and all of us are, what would you do that for? That hurt because you didn't know what the big pain was that was coming. Sorry. Oh. And then you hit, and you're like, that could have hit me? It could have. Yeah, but I don't know that it would have hurt. Okay. Whoop, get back out there.
So on that same note, can you do that for your friends? Can you be that Sean for your friends? And when they say, I don't know if it's going to hurt, can you be okay with still being their friend while they go down that path or fix them to get run over by that truck? Can you just sit in joy and be their friends? Can you arrive and be their friend? Can you sit and love them without their sticky stuff, jumping on you? This is the pot calling the kettle black at the moment, because that's the awakening I had yesterday. Go look at the bipolar videos. Can you do that? And that's a great place to stop right there, because when you learn to do that, crazy things happen and success comes running to you because people see it and they're desperately looking for friends like that. And as you sit in that, your business will grow, your heart grows, your relationships grow, and the things that don't need to be there get cut off. That's all I got. That's what I got out of that. I love how that ended right there on that note with Ann. That was awesome.
So there you go, folks. A couple of misfits gathered together. We learn how to fit in just a little bit more. And the reason that we can have conversations with each other is because we've all not fit in before. And we know what it's like to find our place to fit in. And we're willing to stand up and go, that ain't right. But you know what? You know what is right? Your joy. So I appreciate y'all. I'm Sean Murphy, founder of Mental Profits. I'll see y'all where? At the next event. Y'all send some love to each other.
Love you guys.
Hey guys, love you.
Have a great day.
Yourselves.
Everyone.
Love, love,
Thanks,
love.
Rhonda.
Bye, y'all. Love y'all.
Love y'all.
Blessed day.
Thank you.
Have a great day, guys.
Have a beautiful day, everybody.
Bye. Have a great day.
Love you guys.
Love you.
Bye.